What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a success principle that I actually learned from the world of stand-up comedy, believe it or not, and how this applies to real estate investing. So about 5 years ago, a very good friend of mine moved all the way across the country, packed his bags to Los Angeles to try to make it as a stand-up comic. Now he's actually very close to, I think, making it. I think he's very close to having that, that big break or two. He's doing a lot of paid gigs, a lot of unpaid gigs, but he's really throwing himself out there. And from being around this world, being friends with this guy, and also reading about how different stand-up comics make it, there was a very interesting quote that has just stuck with me for a long time. And it was by a stand-up comic who's on Mad TV. This guy, or was on Mad TV. This guy was hilarious. And he said that you cannot even call yourself a stand-up comic until you have bombed 100 different times. So to bomb as a comic is really one of the most demoralizing things out there. I know from, I guess, secondhand experience from my friend telling me stories. But basically it means you go on stage, you're throwing yourself out there, you're giving effort, and people, maybe they heckle you, maybe they boo you, maybe they just walk off in the middle of your set. Maybe there's only like 2 or 3 people at your set. So it's really just this demoralizing thing. But the rationale behind bombing 100 times is that every time you bomb, it builds character, it builds experience, you start to learn how to read a crowd. In some cases, you might have good stories from it. You find out what people actually think is funny, and most people are not even willing to take that much action. When you take a ton of action, you're gonna bomb. That's true in real estate investing or stand-up comedy. But every comedian that you talk to, they'll talk about, the way they made it was by throwing themselves out there, trying out new jokes, seeing what works, and getting that 1% better, just getting a little bit better every single time, especially if they got negative feedback. Anytime they got negative feedback, maybe they tried out a new joke, maybe it didn't work. They'll change the joke up, maybe they'll do a new joke, maybe their persona on stage or on camera would be different the next time. So there's lots of little different things that you can do to improve yourself. And by doing it 100 times, by failing 100 times, you might have had to throw yourself out there 1,000 different times, which is just going to give you a ton of reference experiences, and you're going to start to get a feel for what makes a good stand-up comedian. And with real estate investing, it's the same thing. So you want to try as many things as possible. You want to take tons of action, and by taking so much action, you are going to have failures. I still have failures, some small, some larger, but it's just inevitable. But by taking so much action, anytime I get a failure where maybe I make a mistake, whether small or large, I'll write it down on my phone. Just make a little note. And pretty soon at the end of a year, at the end of 6 months, maybe at the end of 2 years or even 5 years, you are going to have a long list of items. And if you don't make that same mistake twice, if you improve on all those little mistakes that you might have made previously, you will see a dramatic improvement. And that's how you become a savvy real estate investor. That's called experience. It's called building character. It's like, I almost welcome failure because I know it's just another thing. It's like another lesson that I'm going to learn. So what I would say is, like, don't be afraid of failure. You should actually want failure. That's the more you fail, the faster you're going to improve. And there's actually a really good book out there. I forget who the author is, but it's called Failing Forward. So she talks about you should try to fail as much as possible, especially when you're starting out, because that's how you're going to see the most improvement. That's how you're going to get better. So overall, whether you're a stand-up comic, whether you're a real estate investor, or really no matter what profession, this is how you get better. You take so much action. You get the feedback, and any failures, whether large or small, you take a note of that, and you improve next time so that you can get that 1% better, so that, at the end of a year, at the end of 2 years, at the end of 3 years, you're going to have so much experience, and you're going to be so much better than the competition. Because I see a lot of real estate investors, they'll get like discouraged with like the most minor things, like the most trivial little things. And I'm like, you need to build up a tougher skin. You need to take so much action where that little trivial thing, like someone stealing your bandit sign or whatever it may be, literally has no effect. I mean, maybe you just improve on it and you get better the next time. So thanks for watching this video, and I'm going to end this video actually with a quote from the great Bruce Lee, who said, "The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried." So think about that for a minute. Look up Bruce Lee, look up Bruce Lee quotes. He was a great role model, and I will catch you on the next video. All right, bye.